main topic all over the world at this point probably is upcoming alleged meeting that should take place between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin in upcoming days. Although, dear friends, first of all, let me notice that today Trump's ultimatum is expiring. Today is the last day of Trump's ultimatum, and he did not backtrack on his own threats towards Russia. And he was asked by reporters if his ultimatum is still in force, and he answered positively on that. Let me give you a short clip of his statement.
Vladimir Putin agreeing to a ceasefire still stand tomorrow? Or is that fluid now that talks
Say
are?
it, what?
Is your deadline still standing for Vladimir Putin to agree to a ceasefire tomorrow, or is that fluid now?
It's going to be up to him.
And do you,
We're going to see what he has to say. It's going to be up to him. Very disappointed. Yeah.
So you see, he continues to talk about how disappointed he is, and this is happening after news broke. By the way, after news broke that um, meeting has been agreed between the two presidents and administrations of U.S. president and Russian presidents actually are working right now to organize this meeting, right? But nevertheless, yesterday afternoon, he had yet another conversation with the journalists, and you hear what he said, isn't it? He was not really diplomatic. What he meant that it's up to Putin, I have no idea. He expects that Putin will call him and beg about, I don't know, uh, ultimatum to be revoked or what he's talking about. I have no idea. But yes, today ultimatum is expiring, and you know my take on the situation, dear friends. I don't believe that either Trump or anybody from his administration is genuine when it comes to talks with the Russian side and the de-escalation. They are not seeking de-escalation. I'm quite sure about it. They are engaged in a deception operation, and therefore I expect a unprecedented scale of escalation instead of de-escalation that media is talking about. Then some experts, I expect our next phase of escalation on unprecedented scale, um, as a result of which Moscow will most likely retaliate not just on military and logistical infrastructure of the Kiev regime, but on potentially on military assets of countries, NATO countries that will be directly engaged in this next phase of escalation. And I don't believe there will be any meeting, by the way, between Trump and Putin. Personally, I don't believe this meeting will take place. It makes no sense whatsoever to me personally to have a meeting with Trump at this point when nothing except aggression and provocations are coming from the US leadership or the US or the collective West for that matter. But we will find out. We will find out. Let me give you some more news. And as you know, dear friends, news about meeting and Trump initially was announced by aide of Russian President Yuri Ushakov, and he stated that two sides already are working to organize this meeting potentially in upcoming days. Next week was mentioned, although New York Post yesterday come up with a claim that Trump is demanding, allegedly, yet again, I mean, whenever we are using Western so-called media as a source, probably we always have to use the word allegedly because they cannot be trusted, right? Nevertheless, New York Post come up with a claim that Trump intends to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin only if Russian leader also meets with Zelensky. White House official tell this outlet that Putin must meet with Zelensky for a meeting with Trump to occur. No location has been set, and well, this is already, if true, by the way, this is already indicator that no meeting between Trump and Putin will take place. Although later on Trump himself was asked about this alleged demand that he has, that Putin has to meet with Zelensky, and he answered that no, he did not come up with such a demand. So we have this report from RIA Novosti that says contacts between Moscow and Kiev will not be Washington's condition for a meeting between the presidents of Russia and United States. American leader Donald Trump told reporters at the White House, and I can give you a short video of that statement too, dear friends.
Putin have to meet with Zelensky in order and before you and Putin have to meet? Or are you
No.
Are you
So you're willing to? That's actually important because President Putin said this morning he was pretty dismissive of this idea of meeting with President
Who was?
Zelensky. President Putin was.
I don't know. I didn't hear
For you
him.
to meet with him, he doesn't have to agree to meet with Zelensky. Is that what you're saying?
No, he doesn't. No.
So he said himself that he has no such demand that Putin necessarily have to meet with Zelensky, then to meet with him. Okay, we have a answer from Trump himself, although, by the way, speculations are obviously going to continue because nowadays, no matter what anybody says from U.S. leadership, their statements always going to be taken with a mountain of salt. Today, Trump might said that, well, I have no demands that Putin should meet with Zelensky. Tomorrow, he might actually come up with exactly the opposite statement, that first Putin should meet Zelensky, or there should be trilateral meeting or something. So quite a chaotic situation in this regard. And by the way, we have a report from TASS news agency about potential place where meeting between Trump and Putin going to take place, meeting that I don't believe will even happen, but TASS news agency believes in that, and they reported that meeting between Russian and US President Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump might take place in one of the Arab countries. A source told their TASS news agency, and I can have a sort of informed guess which Arab country TASS source is talking about. I reminded you, friends, that yesterday Russian president had a meeting with the leader of UAE, United Arab Emirates, and at one point when two leaders were exchanging opinions, journalists dropped the question about a place where a meeting might take place, and Putin said that, well, Russia has many friends that can actually organize such a meeting, can actually host such a meeting, and he also pointed to his colleague from United Arab Emirates as one of their friends that actually can host such a meeting. And therefore, I assume if, despite my skepticism, but if such a meeting will take place, probably it will be United Arab Emirates. Let's see, by the way. Let's see. But when it comes to topic of Putin-Zelensky's meeting, Russian president once again was asked about this matter also, and he repeated himself, basically. He stated what he had said many times before, and his aides also. So Russian President Vladimir Putin has said he could potentially hold face-to-face talks with Ukraine's Vladimir Zelensky, but only if Moscow and Kiev reach progress on a diplomatic settlement. That's it. This position of Russian leader have not changed ever, right? That was Moscow's position always, and I don't think we should expect any actual settlement or significant progress when it comes to Ukrainian crisis anytime soon. So therefore, I just see no even theoretical possibility Russian president to meet with Zelensky. With the Trump, maybe such a meeting will take place because of the Trump's personality. He loves to be in the spotlight, right? And meeting with Vladimir Putin will definitely be a major breaking news, sort of. Whole world's media will pay attention to it, and Trump loves that. But will such a meeting be a success, or will such a meeting resolve in any actual progress? I don't think so, and that's why I'm skeptical, because Putin himself, while commenting about Zelensky, said that, well, meeting can happen. He has no issues with a face-to-face meeting, but only if there is a certain agreements in place already. If experts between the two sides organized certain agreements, and then obviously it will make sense if president of Russia and the leader of this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky will meet and let's say formalize the agreement. Although even in that case, by the way, I remind you that Russian side was very vocal that topic of Zelensky's legitimacy has to be resolved. There can be no questions about legitimacy of the person who will sign on any agreement between Moscow and Kiev, right? And I think a Russian leader would or should have a similar approach when it comes to meeting with Trump, because I mean, if experts from two sides, from US and Russia, did not actually manage to finalize any agreement, then what two presidents gonna talk about? What is the point in such a meeting? They're gonna discuss what? Weather patterns on Mercury or what? Usually, leaders are meeting when agreements already been reached, right? And leaders just are formalizing these agreements. That was the case always, and that should be the case always, right? They are too busy, or supposed to be too busy, to waste time just for some casual meetings. But nevertheless, Russian president is quite clear on the topic of Zelensky, who is very upset, by the way, and very angry. He made his traditional video address to whomever yesterday, and he was furious, kind of, because Europe could be left out of these talks that might take place between Trump and Putin. And it's not just Zelensky, by the way. His European masters, or his globalist masters and globalist controlled regimes in Europe, are also, seems like, are not happy about these latest developments, that maybe Russian and US presidents will have a meeting and will discuss Ukrainian crisis, for example, or something. But yet again, what is the point on discussing the subject? It makes no sense whatsoever. There was too much discussion on this matter anyways, right? To me personally, meeting of two leaders only makes sense if certain agreements gonna be finalized. But it does not seem that this is the case, right? At least for now. Maybe we don't know something. Maybe behind the closed doors, representatives of US and Russia were working hard to actually reach certain agreements. And maybe if such a meeting between Trump and Putin will take place, we will hear announcements of those agreements. That can be, right? That's a possibility for sure. But still, I'm skeptical, by the way. Nevertheless, questions arise. Who come up with this initiative to have a meeting, Trump or Putin, US side or Russian side? And aide of Russian President Yuri Ushakov was asked about it. And well, he said quite directly that there was a proposal from the American side, which we think is quite acceptable. So it was basically Trump and his team that initiated this to work on a meeting of the two presidents, and Russian side agreed. Okay. But dear friends, if you notice behavior, if you pay attention to behavior of either Trump or his team, they are acting as if it was Russia that was asking for a meeting, right? And Western propaganda outlets are also trying to create this false narrative that, well, it's Russia that is asking for a meeting, and US has certain demands such a meeting to take place, including, as I already mentioned, meeting between Putin and Zelensky. But in reality, Russia didn't ask for nothing. It was American side that contacted Russian side and asked for a meeting between the two presidents. That's how it is. That's what Ushakov said, by the way, just a nuance that will answer to the questions that are circulating on internet last 24 to 48 hours. Also, dear friends, let me give you this quite interesting news that Pentagon changes the rules for providing weapons to Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky. And details are that the Pentagon amended its policy in July, giving their agency the right to return weapons intended to Ukraine back to U.S. stockpiles. CNN reports, citing sources who have reviewed the memo by U.S. Undersecretary of Defense for Political Military Affairs, Elbridge Colby, which he wrote last month. Department of Defense has their option to return certain weapons to equipment destined for Ukraine back to U.S. stockpiles, a radical move that could result in billions of dollars previously allocated to Ukraine being diverted to replenish dwindling U.S. stockpiles, the statement said. And, well, I think this is quite interesting news in the terms that if somehow, if by miracle, Washington is actually genuine, U.S. leadership is actually genuine, which I don't believe, but if, and in case Washington and Moscow will actually reach some agreements and de-escalation will happen, and if U.S. will begin actually pulling out from this proxy war against Russia that globalists and their Western elites are waging, then this information in that case actually will make sense because all the weapons that are already being allocated for Kiev regime then will be returned to U.S. militaries and they will have a legal basis for that. So let's see. Also, RT is reporting that vast majority of Ukrainians now want peace talks, allegedly. Right? This is information from Gallup institution. The vast majority of the Ukrainians now support ending the conflict with Russia through peace negotiations rather than a continued fighting, according to a new survey released on Thursday by the US-based polling firm Gallup. The poll found that 69% of respondents favor negotiated settlement to the war, a sharp reversal from 2022 when 73%, by the way, said Ukraine should fight until victory. And, well, if numbers are correct, by the way, if numbers are correct, then it is truly sharp reversal, isn't it? In 2022, 73% of these brainwashed elements on Kiev-controlled territory was all about war, all about fighting, how delusional they were, by the way. I mean, you tell me. And now, in 2025, 69% of very same elements seems like at least wake up a little bit, right? And now they are for peace settlement. Hello, everyone. I hope you find informative and useful this short clip from main news update. And if so, please click that like button and leave some commentary just about anything. It might help to deal with the algorithm and reach wider audience. And if you like my work in general and want to support to save this media project, you can assist through several ways. You can donate to this project through PayPal platform or Boosty, also with the crypto currencies, or you can subscribe to my Patreon page and page on Boosty, where I have quite a lot of extra content on regular basis. All the links are on this video in description box and in the pinned comment. And of course, many thanks to everyone who already helped and continues to support. Thank you.